Devery Davis with the Davis Lending Team, powered by Academy Mortgage. All right, first-time homebuyers, listen up. This one's for you. There's a huge misconception on how much it takes to buy a house. Is it 20%? Is it 10%? Is it 15%? The answer will surprise you. There's 4 mortgages in the United States. 2 of them require no down payment. 2 require very minimal down payment. Out of that down payment, there's lots of places to get it from. There's state funds, county funds, city funds, lots of ways to buy a house, no money down. When I was 18, I got out of high school. I actually bought a brand new house, no money down. Never regretted it. If you have questions, give me a shout. Glad to walk you through it. Have a great one.
Kevin Durant wants to be a Boston Celtic. Let's talk about that. How much are you willing to give up? The crazy news around Kevin Durant of late has been that Kevin Durant wants out of Brooklyn, and he has asked Joe Tsai for a trade unless Joe Tsai is willing to fire Steve Nash and his general manager, Sean Marks, which Joe Tsai, the owner of the Brooklyn Nets, said, no, to hell with you. We will trade you, Kevin Durant. And now Durant says he's willing to go to Boston or secondarily James Harden and the Philadelphia 76ers. Jake, are you willing to give up Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown to get Kevin Durant?
I think I'd be a little hesitant on that. I think that, Kevin Durant, obviously, great player, best in the league. Talk about it seemingly every day. It's not in doubt what he's capable of doing, but I just think that, in Boston, you've got a proven product. You've been to Eastern Conference Final after Eastern Conference Final. You've been trending in the right direction. I just think that, Boston is set up well. You're in a place where you have good players, a good team, good chemistry. Marcus Smart stayed after all the trade rumors last year. So to me, I think trading both Jason and Jaylen is a heavy price to pay for Kevin Durant. I could kind of see or even understand Jason Tatum and Marcus Smart having to be in that deal. Totally get it. Understand it. Think that's completely reasonable. But I can't see, if I'm Boston, giving up Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown to get Kevin Durant. I think that's too much. And furthermore, what I would say is you're giving away 2 players who are maybe not, this is an opinion-based thing, but I don't think that Jason Tatum is in the Kevin Durant, LeBron level yet. I think he's one below that. And then Jaylen Brown is probably one below Jason Tatum. But the point is even with that being the case, these guys are still better than most of the players in the league. So when you're giving up 2 guys who are better than most of the players in the league to get one guy who might be the best player in the league, I just think that's I guess what I'm saying is I don't know that it's worth it, because you have 2 guys in Jason and Jaylen who can get their own bucket, who are clearly developing, who are clearly going to be problems in the league for a long time. And I think that's the other side of the conversation no one's talking about. If you give up your now and your future for Kevin Durant, what are you putting Kevin in a position to do? Win or bust? Win or, hey, this wasn't worth it? Win or we're pissed off that we made this trade and it didn't work out? And that's the issue, I think, whether we're talking Boston Celtics, whether we're talking 76ers, whether we're talking Utah Jazz. This was my thing the other day. I don't know that it's worth it for a lot of teams in the league to give up most of what they have to trade for Kevin Durant. I just am not sure that that's worth it. Now, I will say, if you are the Utah Jazz, you are uniquely positioned to go and make this thing happen because you have all the draft capital. So I think the situation and the conversation is a little bit different as far as the Jazz and Danny Ainge are concerned. But if I'm like, if I'm the Lakers, if I'm Boston, if I'm Philly, if I'm, any of these teams that are contending now that don't have just racks of draft picks like the Knicks have or like the Jazz have or any of these other teams have, I don't think that trading for Kevin Durant is probably worth it at this point.
Is he worth it? I think he is. And when I look at the Boston Celtics, no, I'm not doing this deal. Mainly because if you're the Brooklyn Nets, what are you thinking trading Kevin Durant in the Eastern Conference? You shouldn't do that. But again, and I know I talked about this the other day, and I know that everybody lost their mind over it. The Utah Jazz should be all in on this. The Utah Jazz should be calling Kevin Durant. The Utah Jazz should be calling the Brooklyn Nets for one simple reason. Kevin Durant has no other options. He's going to play where the Brooklyn Nets tell him to play. That relationship is fractured. So I have a hard time believing that Joe Tsai and the Brooklyn Nets are just all of a sudden going to say, well, Kevin wants to go to Boston. We got to make that deal. Yeah, I don't think that's how this is going to work. You don't go to the owner and tell him to fire his coach and general manager or else, and then he's going to accommodate your specific trade request. Yeah, I don't think so. My opinion is that if you trade Kevin Durant, specifically if you trade him to the Utah Jazz, I think Kevin Durant's going to ball out. I think Kevin Durant has to prove that he is still the guy that we all think he is. And I think Kevin Durant is well aware that his legacy is on the line. If you go to Utah and the Jazz win a championship in the next 2 years, tell me that we're not talking about him being a ring chaser. Tell me that instead we're not talking about that Kevin Durant singularly won a championship for the Utah Jazz. Because I think that's exactly where this conversation would go. And Jake, I just don't see that the Jazz have very much to lose by trading for Kevin Durant.
Yeah, I mean, and that's what I mean. Like, I think you have a ton of draft capital. But like I was saying, and this was kind of our main dispute the other day, like, I think that there is some risk in it. I think that, the risk of giving up all that capital for one guy to put yourself in a window where you're basically ring chasing for 2 or 3 seasons. Now that said, I can totally get down with that concept as long as Danny Ainge and that front office are okay with the fact that if you don't win, this was still the right decision. Like, as long as that team, the front office team, is all on the same page about that, then I'm cool with it. But what I don't want to hear is hey, we traded for Kevin Durant and gave up 6 picks and gave up, Malik Beasley and Pat Bev and all these guys to pair KD with Don, and then we couldn't get through the Clippers, or we couldn't get through, the Western Conference top dogs. We couldn't get through Memphis, and we didn't win a championship, so we're upset that we ended up doing that. That's my biggest thing, because that's what I feel like happens. That's what I feel like, teams do a lot. Oh, they make this splash trade. Oh, the Clippers traded for Chris Paul and Blake Griffin, and they did all these things, and it didn't work out. And now they're saying it's not worth it. So I guess my thing just would be, if you're a Jazz fan, if you're that front office, if you're okay with them doing this, even if it doesn't work out, then yeah, full steam ahead. But I don't think in these type of situations where a Kevin Durant level player is available, I don't think you can do halfway. I don't think you can say, hey, like, we want to get Kevin at sort of a discount so we can play the now and the future. It's more of like, hey, we gotta go all the way
You're
forward,
all in.
or not at all.
You're all in. You're exactly right. This ain't Walmart. We're talking about Bloomies.
But I feel like a lot of teams try to do that. They try to say, hey, again. All due respect to Leon Rose.
There it is. All due respect.
All due respect. Gotta stay on brand.
Is Steve Peterson?
I gotta stay on brand, bro.
Take a drink.
Yeah, I gotta stay on brand. Take a drink for me. With all due respect, that's what the Knicks are trying to do. Hey, we don't want to give up 6 picks. We only want to give up 4 picks. Well, that's not going to work.
That's not how the game is played. But this is what I say about Donovan Mitchell as well, and I think this is a really interesting comparison.
Yeah.
Why are you making the Donovan Mitchell trade if you're the New York Knicks? Because you feel like it makes you a championship contender, and if it doesn't, then you shouldn't be giving up 4 picks for any player. If it does not make you a championship caliber ball club, what's the point of doing it? And I will also say, this is why I'm all in on KD to the Jazz. He makes you a championship caliber team. Mm-hmm. Kevin Durant and Donovan Mitchell on the same team is top 5 in the West.
Right.
I think if you look at what else they would have to do, it's certain that they would give up multiple picks. I think they would give up multiple young players, but you still have Pat Bev, because you can't tell me Brooklyn's looking for Beverly and Beasley in this deal. That doesn't make a lot of sense. If I am the Utah Jazz, I am giving Brooklyn every draft pick I have, and I am willing to trade Jared Vanderbilt to get Kevin Durant. And I will go, and obviously that's not all you're going to have to give up, but then I will make that deal, and I will go and I will find guys that can fill out my roster. I will find a big to play center, but I know damn well I'm going to play 5 out of the paint most of the season, so I'm not as concerned now about getting an anchor kind of center who can be a defensive guy. Mm-hmm. I am much more willing to bring back a guy like Hassan Whiteside.
Son.
Yeah, I'm much more willing to do that now
Yeah.
because Kevin Durant, he's a guy who can play, from 1 through 5. Every position, Kevin Durant can play that.
Yeah.
So you have a lot more flexibility now. It's more palatable to keep Mike Conley on the roster if all he is step over half court and give it up and then go stand in the corner and make me an occasional three. I'm willing to have Mike Conley on my roster at that point. So now the urgencies, you'd love not to because of the money, but the urgency level to trade everybody in their deal, and that all goes down.
Yeah.
Because now Kevin Durant's here, and it's more palatable to have a Bojan Bogdanovic in the corner. It's more palatable to have him be your third or fourth option. Now you have flexibility. That's what this Jazz team needs. But again, I will say unequivocally, and I know that you totally agree with me, there is one fit for Kevin Durant.
Mm-hmm.
It's the New York Knicks. And I don't understand why the Knicks are not aggressively pursuing Kevin Durant. And NBA sources told us the other morning when this story broke that over 20 teams had called the Brooklyn Nets on Kevin Durant, and then the Knicks had called multiple times. If I'm Leon Rose, this is a deal that I'm willing to do. Because now, if I have Brunson and if I have RJ and if I have Julius Randle,
Hold on. We can't just skip over what happened with the boys in that little pro-am action. Did you guys see that? I just want to make sure we're all on the same page that Jalen Brunson, Obi Toppin, and Julius Randle lost to some amateurs, right? And they didn't lose by 1 point on a buzzer beater. Right?
Nah,
you
bro.
lost 110-97.
You lost by 13 points and you got embarrassed doing it.
That's a problem, bro. That's a problem.
I mean, obviously the tape isn't kind and the highlights we've seen have been cell phone. This is embarrassing. The
Come on.
The Knicks, 3 of their better players lost in a pro-am by 13
Your
points.
max player lost by 13 points?
Terrible. Absolutely terrible. Having said that, Kevin Durant ain't losing in no pro-am.
No.
By the way, did anybody see our guy Caleb Harrison? Number 1, he's got the braids in now.
Yep.
I got to say, Caleb, as awesome as your fro was, dude, I'm feeling the braids.
Yes.
Number 2,
It's a vibe.
did you see that Kyle Kuzma did everything he could do to make sure that Caleb Harrison felt welcome at the what was it, the Powder Puff Pro-Am or whatever it was called here in Utah the other day?
Yep.
Where he scored 62 points in honor of Caleb Harrison's new braids.
Yeah.
Did anybody? I mean,
that's pretty much self-explanatory.
Caleb inspired. He inspired Kyle Kuzma because Caleb was there. They took a picture together. Deuces, yo!
Yeah.
Like, it was pretty amazing.
Yeah.
So, Caleb, I just want to say thank you from, the Beehive State, the bottom of our honey heart, man.
Yes.
I just want to say thank you for inspiring Kuz to such a special performance. Of course, that means the Monty Show is responsible because Caleb occasionally, like once a year, listens to the show.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
Right.
Obviously.
Okay, let's stop being awkward. Should the Utah Jazz trade for Kevin Durant? Would you give up Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown to get him? Let's get your thoughts on this. Kurt Myers says, good morning. Pray that all went well with your scope yesterday. Okay, so I scheduled the colonoscopy.
Okay.
I didn't get it. Thumb in the butt day actually went as well as it could go. Kurt and everybody else who's asking, the colonoscopy is likely to be in October. I am waiting for a final date.
Okay.
But I got all my blood work back yesterday, and it's remarkable. Last year, my total cholesterol was 177. This year, it's 154.
What do you bench?
My bad cholesterol last year, I think, was 129. It is now 112.
Do you even lift?
I mean, it's pretty freaking amazing.
Yeah.
So I all of my cholesterol numbers are really good. My wife, it pisses my wife off. Mrs. Monty hates that I'm healthy.
We're getting somewhere.
Mainly because she wants my life insurance money. But other than that, like, my cholesterol numbers are really good. Like, how about you, fat ass? How are your cholesterol?
They're definitely fine. I mean, they're on the higher end for someone my age, but they're not high yet.
Okay, so you're 13.
Right.
And you have high cholesterol.
Right.
Is this the dagger?
Not yet.
I'm 49.
Right.
And I have perfect cholesterol.
Oh, well, that's genes for you, man.
Your thoughts?
Yeah, that's blood.
I don't know what
lines and genes.
I don't know what my Levi's have to do with this, but it's fine.
Yeah.
Prismac from Poland.
Poland Prismac.
My kielbasa brother.
What's up? Wow. Wow.
Durant to Utah for Bogdanovich, Conley, Butler, Azubuike, and 4 picks. That ain't going to quite get the job done. I'm telling you, Azubuike's a bust. The guy, not a bust. The guy's just not an NBA center.
Yeah.
He's not athletic enough.
They're going to find out this year. I mean, he's going to get run this year.
And he's coming off of surgery, too. Jermaine Royster says Durant in Utah would be funny.
Yeah.
It would?
Yeah, it definitely would be a different look for the league, no doubt.
Well, those highlighter uniforms are going to be a different look for the league,
yeah.
too. Pudge NYC says, salute. What's up, Pudge? Good to see you, bro.
Dude?
Prismac from Poland.
Again.
Sauerkraut.
Yeah.
I actually have Polish blood running through these veins that are
clear on that?
Not a lot of cholesterol either.
Yeah, they're low cholesterol genes.
Yeah, low cholesterol Polish sausage and stuff. Says sources tell me LeBron and KD want to build a big 3 with Don in Utah and win multiple championships. Do you guys like it, Jazz fans? Here
Congratulations, but that's bullshit.
Yeah, LeBron and Bronny and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a dream never going to happen. And the Knicks, Prismac says, and the Knicks with Lakers are going to total rebuild tanking next season.
Yeah.
What do you guys make of what the Lakers are doing? Because the other story out of the NBA yesterday that I thought was so fascinating was that Kyrie Irving and the Lakers are very close to happening. Chatting with my good friend in New York country, and they're saying that the Lakers have told the Nets that they may be willing, if Joe Harris is involved in that deal, that they may be willing to include their 2 future first-round picks. If you're the Lakers and you can add Kyrie Irving and Joe Harris,
Yeah.
and
you have to do that deal.
Subtract Russell Westbrook,
You have to.
and you got to give up 2 first-round picks, are you doing
Yes.
that deal? You're
Yes.
doing that deal.
Every day. Yes. And the reason I'm doing
Man.
that deal is because the Lakers are not playing for the future, right? The Lakers are not a team that looks to the future. The Lakers are a team that is expected to contend for a championship every year. That's just how it is. Like, whether they like it or not, doesn't really matter. That is the culture in the league. And what are they lacking right now? They're lacking playmaking and shooting. That's what they're lacking. And I am no Kyrie apologist. Never have been, ain't never going to be. But I think that Kyrie Irving can make plays for you. I think that when Kyrie Irving is on the floor and playing well, there are a few players who are as dominant as him, and I just think that Kyrie wants to leave. Kyrie wants a team back up with LeBron, and frankly, the Lakers could use an insurance policy on Anthony Davis, with all due respect. And I know we always go here with Anthony Davis, but I just feel like it is the reality. Anthony Davis is an injury risk. If you do not expect Anthony Davis to get hurt this year, you're a fool. You should expect Anthony Davis to miss 20 to 30 games at least. So with that being the case, if he misses time and you have LeBron and Kyrie and Joe Harris standing in the corner, you're fine. You are fine. You can still work with that. So that's why I say I just think that that's a deal that I'm doing all day, because I'm tired of Westbrook and this whole setup. It's not good enough.
When you say you're tired of it, what does that mean?
I am tired of the Lakers being bad, number one. And I'm not a Laker fan, but frankly, when the Lakers are bad, it is not good for the league.
You're about as anti-LeBron as anti-LeBron.
Yeah, I just think that again, I view these guys in 2 categories. I view basketball player LeBron and dude off the court LeBron. That's how I look at basketball players.
Dude off the court LeBron.
Dude off the court LeBron. Yes.
What's dude off the court LeBron's free throw percentage?
It's ride your bike at the back of the line percentage. Anyway, point is, I'm tired of watching Westbrook do what he's done. I'm tired of it. Fix your shot, or you're not going to be a Laker. Like, that's how I feel like it has to be. That's the expectation you play with in Los Angeles. And again, not to hate on the Oklahoma City Thunder, but Russell Westbrook could do whatever he wanted as a Thunder because he was the best player they had. That doesn't work in Los Angeles.
It doesn't work in Washington, it works in Washington. It works in OKC.
Yeah,
it's not going to work, and it's not going to work in Houston. It's not going to work the way it worked in Houston.
Yeah,
So I think, and I want to be careful with this as well, because I think Russell Westbrook is one of the most difficult players to diagnose. Is that the right ways to say that? Because I think Russell Westbrook is a guy that is going to come back and he is going to have an unbelievable season. I think that he's a guy, in my opinion, that has a lot left to give in this league. And I know he's been putrid, frankly, with the LA Lakers, but I think that Russell Westbrook is going to wind up somewhere on a prove-it year. And I know I say that about a lot of guys, but if you look at Kyrie Irving, Kevin Durant, James Harden, you look at Russell Westbrook, I think these guys are all on prove-it years.
Yeah.
I think Anthony Davis is playing for his career right now.
Yeah.
I think when you look at what's going on around this league, Jake, I think there's a lot of guys that bring a lot of value. I think Donovan Mitchell's on a prove-it year. And I think one of the things that's so fascinating, and I think one of the questions right now is we bandy about the latest Kevin Durant rumors here on the show. One of the things I find so interesting is that I think Donovan Mitchell is going to be here. I think every day that this deal doesn't get done, and I still maintain the Knicks and the Jazz are the only deal that gets done for Donovan Mitchell, because I just don't see another team in the league that can offer what the Knicks can offer. I think Donovan Mitchell's coming to training camp with the Jazz. I mean, I have heard nothing that would change that opinion in the last, I don't know, probably the last 3, 4, 5 days.
Yeah.
I mean, I would put it at 80-20 that Donovan Mitchell winds up in camp with the Jazz. I really would.
Well, not just winds up in camp, but winds up in camp with a point to prove. And I think that's the most important thing happening right now. And again, I just think that, look, in the Lakers setup, you can't have, a guy, Anthony Davis, who's hurt, combined with a guy in Russell Westbrook who doesn't produce. That doesn't, you can absorb on an NBA roster, you can absorb one of your superstars being done for the year. You can do that.
Yeah.
You can work with that. That's
Yes.
a possibility. You can still be good. All right, great. But when LeBron is his age and not able to really do what he used to be able to do, when Anthony Davis gets hurt and Westbrook can't make anything, that's a problem, bro. And that's why I say, screw the first-round picks. Send them out. Get Kyrie Irving, get Joe Harris, and go out and do you.
Screw
Yeah, man, for the Lakers, yes.
That's Jake's Twitter handle on the screen right there.
Yes.
Screw the first-round picks.
Yes, dude. What are they doing? But I'm being serious. What are they doing for you? What are the first-round picks doing for you?
Well, not much right now, I guess. I mean, you're not and to your point, I don't know. I think when first-round picks, they grow on trees. Ask Dennis Lindsay about that. I mean, I think the best organizations in the NBA, Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown, Steph Curry, certainly.
But what is the difference? Again,
you
this is the point.
You have better organizations. That you had Danny Ainge drafting those guys.
But my
you have
point
Bob
is,
Myers drafting those guys.
My point is those teams were willing to be bad to get those picks. The
Well,
Lakers
that's
aren't
true, too.
willing
Yeah.
to be bad.
Yeah.
That's not how Lakerland works. It never
Yeah.
has been. And that's why I say, honestly, screw the picks. Send them out. Get more talent. Mitigate the Russell Westbrook problem. Mitigate Anthony Davis's injury bug.
Yep. This hour of the show is brought to you by Barbecue Pit Stop. Make sure you find one of their 5 locations across the great state of Utah in Lehigh, Layton, Logan, Murray, Salt Lake City, and St. George. BBQPitstop.com. Tell them you heard about it on the Monty Show. When you go in there, make sure you fill out the slip. You can enter to win a chance to win 2 tickets to see BYU and Notre Dame. Talking about the latest Kevin Durant rumors. And the latest is that Kevin Durant would like to go to Boston. The Nets are asking for Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown in return, to which I say, hell no.
Yeah,
Not doing that. Not doing that. You want Jaylen and Marcus Smart? Let's do it. You want Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown? Nah, I'm fine, bro. Because you're not winning with Kevin Durant on his own in Boston. You're really not. All right, let's get more of your comments in here this morning. Good Lord, my man. There is a Spanish Elaine Vignal.
Yeah.
I don't know what language that is, but he left us this long foreign language,
Okay, cool.
Comment.
That's not a problem.
We are big.
Great.
We are big in the foreign
Is it literally
language.
in another language?
It is.
Oh,
yes,
okay.
I believe it's in Spanish. Jerry Fitz says Kyrie wanted it in his contract that he would only have to play 60 regular season games. He is a nut. I don't know. Was that in his
I don't know.
thing? JP Shanahan says you're Polish. Yeah, I have a little bit of Polish blood in me. I am Italian and Irish with a little bit of Polish in me.
Yeah.
Kielbasa for everybody.
Yeah.
He also wants to know how old you are, Jake. Jake is 23. 3.
I'm 28.
3.
Okay.
That same thing. Same.
238. You know.
Let's see. Exploring with Ben and Sam says the butt is safe for another couple of months.
The butt is safe.
You know, he's
for
talking
another
about
couple of
again.
months.
He's talking about my colonoscopy.
Butthole.
I appreciate you guys are so interested in my.
Butthole.
Thank you. My point is, I won't get a colonoscopy. Probably. It's fascinating that it's hard to get an appointment.
Yeah.
It's months booked out. So I probably won't wind up getting the Roto-Rooter thing until, like October. Let's see. Jerry Fitz also says Mitchell and Picks could get it done for Durant.
What's the point?
Yeah, why would you make that trade? You're in the same boat if you do that. Court McMullen says, if we can get KD while keeping any two of JC, Vanderbilt, and Beasley, I'd be all in. I think that's pretty smart. The Jordan Clarkson trade machine has been fairly interesting. I mean, there's been a lot of conversation about it. I still maintain I don't see them trading Jordan Clarkson. I think as long as Don is here, he's here. I think Conley, Bogdanovich, I think certainly I've been told that they have deals in place for Patrick Beverley when he comes available later in this month. I mean, if they want to make that deal, they can make that deal. I know the Lakers and Heat would love to add Bojan Bogdanovich to their books. I think the Lakers are just on hold waiting for this Kyrie situation to resolve itself. I don't know. I think the Nets have held up a lot of deals. I think Danny Ainge, frankly, has held up a lot of deals.
Yeah.
So we'll see how that all goes. Let's see. Renee Roca, good morning to you. Just got done with my morning walk. It's already getting hot here in Texas.
What's the weather like in Texas right now? I mean, is it when we say hot, is that like 100 or what are we talking about?
Yeah. And you're sweating a lot. Sean Miersinski says, first time in Tahoe. I know you guys like traveling.
Yes.
What's something that's a must do? Go hike one of the resorts.
Yeah.
Go hike one of the resorts. Go get in the water. I'm telling, go enjoy. You know what's a must to do? Go take a gondola up to the top of Heavenly. And just sit there and look at the lake. Just meditate while you look at the lake.
Highly recommend. I feel like it's very undervalued to hike ski and snowboarding resorts in the summer. Highly underrated.
I'm a huge believer that if you can find quiet time.
Yeah.
And Tahoe, I mean, today is Thursday. Tahoe is going to get busier Friday, Saturday. I would really encourage you, get out in the morning, get to the top of the mountain, and just sit there and listen and watch the lake. Just listen to nature. Listen and contemplate your biggest things in life. Like, I'm not even being weird. I'm not even trying to be funny. I'm dead serious. I'm a huge believer in meditation. Like, I don't get to do it enough, but I'm a huge believer. I try to, when I wake up in the morning, I just sit up in bed for 30 seconds and just take stock. Like, just let it impact you. So go sit at the top of a resort and stare at the lake and listen to the birds, man. That's what I'm saying. JP Shanahan says, well, I get a discount at Barbecue Pit Stop if I tell them that Jake and Monty sent me. Yeah, go get it, man. By the way, somebody asked us about Max Muscle. The discount code at Max Muscle in South Jordan is Monty15. You go into Max Muscle, you tell them, hey, I heard about you on the Monty Show.
Monty, the Monty Show.
Thank you. The Monty Show.
The Monty Show.
The Monty Show. That's amazing that you have that drop. But if you go into Max Muscle in South Jordan, say, hey, heard about you on the Monty Show. Here, my discount code is Monty15.
I want it.
Monty15. Go in there. There's 3 products I would highly recommend you use. Emerge in a bag. Get the bag form of Emerge. I like cherry. Jake is more of a cherry or a
mango
peach guy. Mrs. Monty is also a mango peach girl. But it's great. It is a fat burning supplement. It's got a tremendous mental clarity from Emerge. That's the number one reason I drink it daily.
Yeah.
2 scoops of Emerge every day and 20 ounces of water. I'm telling you, it's amazing. So I like Emerge at Max Muscle. I like their Max Pro whey protein.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of their vanilla and chocolate. And then they have something called Liquid Carn, L-carnitine. Go get it.
It's in a black and orange bottle.
Yep, the orange flavor is the one that I would recommend.
Yep.
I'm telling you, it's all good. Max Muscle Sports Nutrition in South Jordan, right by Costco off of Bangor Highway.
Yeah.
Tell them you heard it on the Monty Show. Use promo code Monty15. Monty15 will get you 15% off your purchase there. Speaking
Thank
of
you.
discounts. You're welcome. Pudge NYC says Clarkson has a cult following in Utah. He does.
Yep.
And in the Philippines, frankly.
He's a big deal in the Philippines, bro.
Steve Peterson says, my last colonoscopy, I woke up halfway through and said to the doctor, you didn't even buy me dinner. He said, nope, and put me back under and laughed at me in the recovery room. That's my guy.
You're cold-blooded.
That's my guy. Prismac
Bro.
from Poland.
Prismac from Poland.
Says kielbasa is tasty. Monty can speak Polish. Nice.
Yeah.
Kielbasa, yo.
Yeah.
Griff 181 says Danny is holding up the KD trade. Nets want to see what the Jazz get for Spider. I just don't think there's a Donovan Mitchell trade coming.
Yeah, it's time for the Nets to blink. We're running out of time here before camp gets
Well,
started.
and I think that's a big part of it. And if I'm Boston, I would never give up Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown together. But if I'm the Nets, I'm asking for it.
That's what I'm saying. Like the Nets are not in no position to leverage other teams. Like you're not in a position to leverage other teams. And if they're if I'm Joe Tsai and I'm that front office, like I'm calling around the league or taking calls, I guess, because they are getting inundated with calls. I'm trying to find out who the fool in the league is going to be that's going to give up their best players to get Kevin Durant.
Somebody will.
And you got to find that team.
Somebody will.
That's your job. Find
no
that
doubt
team.
about it. Jesus Christ destroys Marxism. Good morning. Long time no see you, JC. No way I believe Danny likes Beverly and definitely will keep him. We need a dog like Pat. Well,
God bless.
I think it just has to make sense for you to keep Pat. I mean, my feeling is they trade Patrick Beverly at their first chance. That's my guess. I think Donovan Mitchell and Patrick Beverly would be very dynamic together.
Mm-hmm.
But I think there's redundancy in Conley and Patrick Beverly, and I think the Jazz are having trouble trading Mike Conley's deal.
Yeah.
I think they have. I was told unequivocally the other day by a Jazz source they'd love to and have tried to trade Mike Conley. They just don't have a dance partner for that deal because Mike makes a pretty good chunk of change. And I think his value is 40 games a year. You can't count on him to play more than half the season. So I know that last year, a year ago at this time, Dallas was absolutely in on Mike Conley.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know that that's the case now. I don't know that the Lakers are still hot to trot to get Mike Conley at the number they'd have to pay to get him. I think it doesn't work under their salary cap. And I think Jeannie Buss, the owner of the Lakers right now, is not so willing to pay the luxury tax when you suck out loud.
Yeah.
So I think it's a matter of getting this Westbrook deal done. If you can add Kyrie and Joe Harris for Westbrook and 2 first-round picks, I think you do that. And then I think you reevaluate where you are. I still maintain the Lakers' biggest mistake was not getting John Wall, because I think John Wall's another guy, not to be redundant, but I think John Wall's another guy on a prove-it deal.
Yeah.
And John Wall on the Clippers makes the Clippers awfully feisty. And I think if you're the Lakers, you really are risking being irrelevant. Not that you're ever completely irrelevant in Los Angeles, but the Clippers are getting a new building. The Clippers are getting a healthy Kawhi
Little
Leonard.
brother isn't so little anymore.
I mean, that's exactly right.
Yeah.
I mean, I think when you look at the Clippers and the way that they stack up in Los Angeles, the Clippers had no problem being a better team than the Lakers the last 3 years. I mean, that's just the reality of the situation.
The last 3 years, that's not. Since
the Lakers won that championship in the bubble, the Clippers, frankly, have been a better team.
Yeah.
And I just think it's better management. I look at some of the moves that Rob Pelinka's made, and you have to really question what the thought process was. And the fact that they have no assets, they have no cap space, they are going to have to give up all of their future first-round picks, essentially. I mean, you're just in a position where you have very few choices. And you are in a spot where now you are married to a guy like Kyrie Irving, who you're going to get on a 1-year deal and could likely walk away, and you're left empty-handed. Now, you would have that cap space, obviously, but, I mean, the Lakers are not in a great position.
Yeah.
They are not in a great position. Let's see. Prismac from Poland.
Yeah.
Prismac, busy today. Says, Monty and Jake had a good workout at the gym the last few days. They think they're more athletic than KD. Come on now. Come on now. Come on now. BB says, do we really want the Knicks? 3 of their starters lost to 3 nobodies. I don't know what.
I don't really understand that.
I don't think. What do you mean 3 nobodies?
Yeah.
Maybe I should get clarity on that because maybe I just don't see it. Kurt Meyer says at the top of Squaw Valley Tram they have a swimming pool and it's an amazing view. Yeah, we've absolutely been there. The thing that I used to love about Squaw Valley and Tahoe, it's one of the resorts in Lake Tahoe. The thing I used to love about Squaw and Tahoe is you can snowboard from the very tippy top all the way to the bottom of that resort. Ride the tram all the way back up to the top and do it again. Love Squaw Valley.
Yeah.
It's a ski resort, frankly. But I love Squaw. I'm in Tahoe. I'm a North Star guy. Very plain and simply put. North Star and Heavenly are both Vail resorts, but I'm a huge North Star guy.
Yeah.
That's my resort. Axe Handle, when it's not moguled, is amazing. I mean, there's so... If you're in Tahoe right now today, go hiking. Go hiking all the way to the top and go look at the lake.
Yeah.
And let your God speak to you because it will happen. Jerry Fitz says John Wall hasn't played more than 41 games in a season since Obama was president. Well, but he also didn't play at all last year. So he's had significant time to heal his ankle and knee injuries. So he's a guy.
And a lot of that last year wasn't injury related, by the way.
No, none of it was injury related. He and the Rockets agreed for the betterment of the Rockets' young players, he wasn't going to play. They were going to try and trade him. And while they didn't trade him, that they would enjoy the fact that he was a mentor for them. So that's exactly what you got out of him. And I think he did a really good job by all accounts.
Yeah.
He was a pro's pro.
Yeah.
While not playing, he was coaching that young team. And John Wall's a different player than he was when he was with the Wizards. I mean, there's no doubt about it. He's been injury prone, though. Jerry, you're exactly right.
No doubt.
I mean, the guy has had significant and not minor injuries, mind you. I mean, him and Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant is a guy that has to play 70 games this year. You need to know that Kevin Durant can be trusted to play. I mean, you've got him for, 4 more years, I guess?
Something like that.
Fully under contract for 3-4 more years. He's got to be able to play 70 games. And you can say a lot of things about LeBron James. That cat plays games.
Yeah.
He plays a lot of games.
Yeah.
So I think that's, significant. If you're just tuning into the show, we are talking about the latest Kevin Durant rumors as SNY's Ian Begley reported yesterday that Kevin Durant wants to go to the Boston Celtics, who, by the way, their head coach is Ime Udoka. Where was he previously? Well, Ime Udoka was an assistant under Steve Nash with the Brooklyn Nets and Kevin Durant.
Yeah.
So there is a relationship in place there, which makes sense.
Yep.
But I think I know I'm not giving up Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum together.